Hey, how's it going everybody? My name is Artorigold with ProGuides, and today I'd like to go over Torbjorn, everybody's favorite hero to one-trick. I think he's actually a pretty decent hero, but a little bit situational. So in this game, I'm going to go over some diamond gameplay and kind of talk a little bit about when you want to pick him, why he's so situational, and how to kind of go over him and what his play style is. So first off, you kind of want to pick Torbjorn on defense. He can work on attack in some situations, but let's talk about his pros. So he's really good at crossfire, he's really independent, he's very sturdy, he can take a lot of damage thanks to his armor and his E ability, and he can also do a lot of shield break damage. And typically you want to run him on defense because you can set up a really nice crossfire point and have your turret hit any flankers who are trying to get you at weird angles, and also you can kind of stay alive from dives very easily, and your right click does a ton of burst damage. They actually just nerfed it on the recent patch, and for a good reason. I actually think Torbjorn is a lot stronger than Reaper. Like, his right click did so much damage. Luckily, they nerfed it because I did think it needed a bit of a nerf, even though that Torbjorn isn't like super meta or anything. I think it's a good thing that he isn't having like this crazy power right-click shotgun, which is something that kind of outshined Reaper, and that's kind of what Reaper's thing was supposed to be, so I'm glad about that. His ultimate is also a really powerful tool that you can use to zone people. It does bonus damage against armor, so it's really effective against tanks like Orisa. So I'm going to go over a couple of clips, and I'm going to go over in detail what I'm trying to do and what your gameplay is as Torbjorn. So one of the first things that I like to talk about with Torbjorn is the turret placement. So crossfire is a concept that you basically want to make sure that you can shoot at the enemy team from different angles than your own team. Generally, people are going to group up together and they're going to work together as a team, but as Torbjorn, you want to be on the opposite side. So for example, my team is always going to be grouped up, and they're probably going to be as a unit trying to attack the payload, and your job as Torbjorn is to put your turret somewhere in a different spot, somewhere, you don't want to put your turret like behind a shield. That's not really where you want to put it. You want to put it in a weird or crazy angle spot that can kind of help protect your team from flankers and flank routes. You want to make it as annoying to reach and to do damage to as possible. So for example, I want to put, because you can throw the turret, you want to put it somewhere on the high ground, or you want to put it somewhere that the enemy team is going to have a really awkward angle to try and get people. So this is something I want to talk about. You always want to be at kind of flanking angles, but you don't want to actually flank with Torbjorn. You want to be at an angle where you can sit and get really nice left click shots, and you want to be able to hit people and protect different flank routes. So what I'm doing right here is I have the turret kind of in the way far back in the corner where my team is going to be, where the enemy team is going to be focused on the cart, and it's going to be focused on pushing. My turret is going to be doing damage while everybody's focusing on my team. And while that happens, I'm going to be kind of watching these flank routes over here so nobody sneaks up behind them. And that's kind of your job as Torbjorn. You're an anti-dive, crossfire, and anti-flank hero. You can also do a lot of shield break, but you're not meant for entire shield break team comps. For example, a Bastion will probably do it better in a lot of situations, but for the most part, you do it pretty well. So if you are looking to do shield break, then it probably will be decent for defense, but Bastion may be better. So here I'm going to show kind of one of those sneaky turret spots. You can throw it onto the high ground. Somewhere like right up here is a great spot because you can throw it up here and it's going to get a lot of angles downward, and if the enemy team doesn't have some sort of character that can shoot up there easily, then they're going to ignore it. So it takes a while for some heroes to kind of deal with it. For example, if the enemy team has like a Moira or a Lucio or even a Brig, then they're not going to be able to shoot the turrets, and sometimes people just have heroes like Doomfist and Sombra, and that's kind of when Torbjorn shines, because Doomfist and Sombra is not going to shoot at the turret, and the supports aren't really supposed to. I mean, if you have a Zenyatta, he's probably the best option for that, but if you're an Ana and you just sit there and you're shooting darts at a turret, it's going to take way too long. It's very inefficient, and tanks don't really want to deal with it either, especially like Winston or Reinhardt, because it's on the high ground, they can't reach it. So in those instances, this turret is very powerful because nobody's going to really focus it. And of course, now that the turret has been changed, you kind of just want to throw a turret up there and just forget about it. You don't ever really want to heal it. That's not what you do. That's not what you're meant to do. So when you have the turret can be used to either set up different flank routes and protect it. For example, you can set a turret somewhere like maybe over here and protect the flank route, or you can leave the turret with the rest of your team on the main area and then have you kind of cover and protect the flank. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing as Torbjorn. You can either like double up on it and have both of you sitting on the flank, and that also kind of provides a decent amount of crossfire, or you can leave the turret for your team, or you can I do want to talk about this. Or you can leave the turret with your team to just help provide more pressure and damage. So this is one of the things that Torbjorn does very well. If you see an enemy team and they have some sort of dive character, for example, this Doomfist, all you need to do is click E, and the Doomfist will immediately start to back off and think, oh, you know what, maybe it's not such a great idea to go after you. And he would be right, because you do beat flankers very well. In this instance, they have a Doomfist and a Sombra, and you can easily melt them if they decide to take you on. The Sombra hacks you, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't really affect you at all. And here, as you can see, my turret is just able to do so much work. You see they have a Winston, they have a Diva, and they just completely ignored my turret. You see this little line here, it's shooting at them, and the Moira is obviously not going to take time to shoot it, and neither is a Winston or a Diva, and we just got done killing the Doomfist, and the other character was what, a Sombra? Sombra's not going to deal with this turret, so this turret on the high ground is completely uncontested, unless maybe the tanks or the Doomfist or Sombra for some reason decide to go onto that high ground and take the time to shoot the turret, and that's kind of a big waste. Why would you ever want to do that? There are plenty of other characters that could kill a turret very easily, but they don't have that. So that's why Torbjorn is such a strong pick in this situation. Torbjorn does very well against dive heroes. Torbjorn really just stands his own against flank characters. His turret is really difficult to deal with unless they have some characters like Pharah in order to specifically deal with it. And I didn't really do a very good ult right there. I could have kind of waited a little bit because they were frozen, but in the end it was okay because we were able to wipe them all. So in this second clip, I'm going to again show how you cover the flank. You really don't have to worry about anybody sneaking up on a Torbjorn. You're not really going to get one shot by anything except for maybe a Hanzo or a Widowmaker headshot. But you can constantly spam your left click at the choke and people are going to ignore you. For example, this Winston, he could have dove me right here, but it would have just ended in his death, right? Because what happens if a Winston jumps on a Torbjorn? You click E and you just shotgun his face. You get right inside that bubble. You don't really care about it, and he's going to go down insanely fast, especially at this angle where his healers are not with him, or any of his allies really, so they're not able to back up. I see that the Hanzo is trying to flank, and all you really have to do is you kind of just wait for him, and then you just clean them up with your right click shotgun and your E. Nobody's going to really take you on with that because nobody can really kill you except for one-shot mechanics. And even then you'll see that they'll be really scared of you, right? They'll run away. This McCree is so scared he messes up his flashbang, and then instead of dealing with you, he actually decides to just run away. And while this is all happening, my turret is still alive, protecting the point, and it's overtime situation. And I'm able to easily clean up everything and just let my turret kind of do the cleanup work on the baby Diva. I don't even have to worry about it. And this Winston gets completely melted too, because he just goes in a little too early without his healers. And that's really all you have to do when playing Torbjorn. You need to look to cover the flanks, make sure you have cover fire set up, make sure you have crossfire set up, and then just use your E and right click and shotgun people to death whenever they see you as a squishy and vulnerable and easy target. And so for this last clip, I will be going over Shield Break. This is a concept about Torbjorn. He does a lot of damage output to shields. His turret you can put in combination with an Orisa and Roadhog and just use your E to spam left clicks or right clicks, and you will break the enemy shield extremely quickly. And sometimes you'll just get kills. For example, I just killed that Hanzo. I didn't really do anything there. Someone probably got him low for maybe the Orisa chip damage, or maybe one of my other DPS did it, and my turret just kind of finished him off because maybe he was in an angle right up here on the high ground where his team wasn't really protecting him. The Reinhardt shield's right here, so he's just going to get killed and die to the turret damage, and that's something your turret will pick up a few kills. So first off, with your turret placement, typically you want to make sure if you do a Torbjorn on attack, you're going to run something that's also complementing the shield break. In this instance, an an Orisa and a Roadhog work very well with you. Zenyatta also does a lot of spam damage for a support. And then maybe you could run a Junkrat, a McCree, now that his left click is insane, or maybe even Hanzo, he does a ton of shield break damage, and you will destroy the Reinhardt or Orisa, and you kind of just break through them extremely quickly, and that's kind of your goal. You don't really want to hard commit in this situation. You kind of want to make sure to sit back, make sure everybody's at full health, move up with your Orisa when she moves up, and just constantly use your E and just spam your right click and left click at the shields and destroy them. And then when they haven't had enough, so for example, this Reinhardt, he's had enough, right? His shield is probably about to be broken and he can't really do anything but either back off completely or push forward and commit. And at that point, you're able to pop your E if it's not on cooldown and completely decimate him and burst damage him. And then he just seems like a fool, right? One of the big things, maybe irrelevant to Torbjorn, but if you have an Orisa and she has a shield and the enemy Reinhardt pushes behind this shield, then they will not receive healing from an Ana. So an Ana's healing darts are going to be blocked by your Orisa shield. So as soon as the Reinhardt goes past an Orisa shield, that is the perfect opportunity to go into his face and start getting aggressive onto him, and you will be able to kill him extremely quickly. So at that point, you kind of just sit back, and now that they don't have a shield, your turret is going to be able to hit everybody. You just put it down behind wherever your tank is, make sure that he's able to body block, and whenever someone tries to flank you, such as what just happened right here, you just click E so you get healed up, or not healed up, but you get a bunch of armor and movement speed. Your turret's going to start doing damage to them. You hit them with one right click, they're either going to be dead or they're going to have their health low enough to the turret is just going to basically finish them off. Because they did rework the AI on the turret, it will start immediately shooting whatever target you just hit. So anyways, those are the main concepts of Torbjorn. Whenever you are on offense or defense, you want to concentrate as much as possible on shield breaking when that is an option. You always want to pick Torbjorn on defense on maps like 2CP. Numbani is really good. Hollywood is really good, especially first points. Even Paris can be pretty decent. They're all really good spots where you can put a turret on the high ground and it's able to put a lot of pressure and damage to the enemy. At the same time, they're going to usually have to run dive to push forward. And either you sit really safe and slow and you break their shield and let them just kind of whittle and wear down, or you can try and just be more of a anti-flanker, which is a really strong way to play Torbjorn. You're going to be able to destroy Doomfist, you destroy Sombras, you deal with Tracers very well, and also Genjis who don't know what they're doing, you can also destroy them. Just make sure you don't shoot into deflect and you will be completely fine. Any tanks are really easy for you to deal with. You have no problem with dealing with tanks. I think every single one of them you just completely destroy. As soon as they try to dive on you or your allies, you instantly use your E and save it for those moments, and then you win. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time.